अभी just wait. Yes. हाँ जी,
एसी अभी रिपेयरिंग पे चल रहा है।
अच्छा,
बिना एसी चल रहा है हम लोग।
यस सर।
वो बेसिकली कोरोना को सॉरी इसको म्यूट करें। कहाँ गया हमारा म्यूट?
इधर ही से होगा।
नहीं,
स्प्रिंग भी, ऑटम भी, विंटर भी, अब वापस गर्मी आ रही है।
तो इसलिए वो बिल्कुल कुक करना चाहते हैं, कुक। Good afternoon, everybody. So today I'll be talking about an introduction to literature search. Now, obviously, much of the technical detail will be shared with you little later by the subsequent speakers. So I'll be giving you only a brief introduction. Now, obviously, when I'm giving a brief introduction, my target is the beginner. So some of you may be the expert in this area. For them, it will look quite flat, but still I tell you, it is good to recapitulate everything again and again. So my presentation will be largely for the beginning. Now, this is the point to ponder. When we were doing DM, maybe about 25 or 28 years ago, in SGPGI, somebody is not muted, yes. In SGPGI, please mute yourself. So what we used to do is that we used to go to the library to know all the literature. And I tell you that library in SGPGI was very new then. It was worth going to library. It was very interesting. Will not. Therefore, we'll go all the way to King George Medical College in the city. We'll go all the way to King George Medical College in the city. And then we'll really hunt for those journals full of dust and then queue up for photocopying. Queue up for photocopying. It was difficult. And then you have to retain all those knowledge, what you acquire by doing the literature search, using the hard copies of the journal and the books. You have to store them in your brain. Again, difficult. You tend to forget. But nowadays, everything comes on one click of a button, and you actually put everything in your hard disk. Okay, maybe sometime when the storage capacity is exceeded, you increase the size of the hard disk. And the moment you want to know anything, let us say dose of a drug, evidence for treatment of a disease, you really just click on or hook on to your mobile. So really the things have changed in front of our eyes. And I tell you, we hardly ever visit library nowadays for seeing those hard copies of the journal and the books. These are all electronic in a small device. Now, therefore, there is no denial by anybody, I suppose, that these technologies of literature search is very, very important, because those old days have now gone. We do not really look for all those hard copies of the journal and the book or printed copies of the journal and the books. We want these to be electronic, available in our device such as mobile, tab, or laptop. Now, today, what is going to happen is in the next few sessions or next few presentation, you are going to be acquainted with the techniques of literature search. But I'm going to give you only an introduction. Now, also, why should I know about all this literature search? Because you have to acquire the most recent knowledge. And this most recent knowledge is unexpected to be available in the books, because today the edition of the book that is getting published, maybe all the authors have compiled all these about 3 years ago, and even when these are compiled by the publisher from the author might have written around 1 to 2 years ago. That basically means that if you today get the most recent edition of the book, the knowledge is about 5 years old. Therefore, the most current knowledge is required not only by the researcher, but for those who are going to give clinical care to the patient, and for those who are preparing presentations such as seminar, short topic in their department, and so on. For research, it is again required for preparing review article, for those who are doing MD thesis. In DM, typically, we don't need thesis, at least in SGPGI. Later, when you become a young faculty member, you require these for writing grants. You require these for preparing original article and meta-analysis. So therefore, there is no doubt you need to do literature search. Now, what are these search engines? There are a lot of search engines, but I have listed here the most popular one, such as PubMed, Google, Google Scholar, Scopus, Embase, and so on. Some of these are free. For example, PubMed, Google Scholar is free, whereas others are paid, such as Scopus, Embase, etc. Now, all these are going to be spoken to you in detail, including the technique, how to use this search engine. So what is PubMed? PubMed is NLM's bibliographic database. So what is NLM? NLM is National Library of Medicine. So this is located in US. So they compile all the data, all the published data from all over the world, and then make it available for the whole world rather than restricting it to be US alone. It covers medicine, nursing, dentistry, veterinary medicine, healthcare system, preclinical sciences, and some other areas of life science. Also, why are you talking about all this? If you are going to look for an article in engineering science, don't search PubMed. For example, you want to know techniques of artificial intelligence described in an engineering science journal. If you do a PubMed search, you will not get it. It contains bibliographic citation and author abstract from 5,000 journals published from more than 70 countries. Obviously, the data records are much bigger now, but 1966, there were more than 16 million records. Each country is assigned a unique PM ID. Now I'll say, why do you need to know this? Like we get most of these in the books. Let us say now we know that coronavirus pandemic is happening. And you want to know, does chloroquine work? Does hydroxychloroquine work? Problem is, go to books. These are not yet written in most of the books because the pandemic started just maybe in the end of 2019. Don't expect that in November 2020, there are all the books which underwent edition and then these are published. So therefore, what you do is you have to depend on electronic search engine. So here I've given an example. This is PubMed, and there I have written COVID-19 and gastrointestinal symptom. Obviously, here I have not written chloroquine. I've written COVID-19 and gastrointestinal symptoms. Why did I do that? Because what happens is we know now that COVID-19 patient, as much as 10 to 20% of them can have GI symptoms such as diarrhea, vomiting, abdominal pain, anorexia, nausea, and so on. Now, what people found is those who have GI symptom are more likely to have more severe disease and fatal disease than those who don't have GI symptoms. So therefore, what I did is I wrote in the PubMed COVID-19 and GI symptom. And let us say I got huge number of hit there, maybe more than 1,000. Now let us say I'm interested to read one of these articles. And the moment I go there, this is an article published in a medicine journal called Annals of Internal Medicine. So obviously it is asking for payment. And each article you have to pay somewhere $30 or $40. So difficult. To read an article, you have to pay $30 or $40. And many a time, everything may not be available in the library because of delay in subscription of journals in our library. So nowadays, science has become quite open. Look at it, what I did. I went to this search engine. This is called Sci-Hub. This is called Sci-Hub. So what this Sci-Hub did is, they wanted science to be open. It is an issue which there could be some people who can debate. They may say it is not fair. Other side may say it is not unfair, but I am not taking any side. I am just showing you the technology. So what we do is that take this number. This is called Digital Object Identifier or DOI. Look at the DOI. It says 10.1016/site new and so on. Now just copy this digital object identifier and put here in the Sci-Hub. Look at this. The moment you put it here, actually the article, the full text version become open. You can download and read it free of cost. Obviously, journal houses will say that this lady here, shown here, is spoiling all our business because the journal houses or publisher were earning money by selling those articles. On the other hand, some of the author would say, I did all the hard work. I did the study. I analyzed the data. I wrote the paper. And now I gave to the journal for publication. They did little bit typesetting and peer reviewing. Now they are selling that article and authors doesn't get any penny out of it. So obviously, that whether it is right or wrong is an issue which can be debated, but for us, the researcher, it is a good option. And in fact, I know some of the publishing house tried in the court of law to actually stop it, but they could not. So this is another way of open access and the search engine. So when you are preparing a review article or thesis, what do? You really select a topic first. Then you search the literature. Then you develop the argument that why should I work on this issue? If the literature is plenty now, if I work on this issue, is it worth working? So you develop the argument that is it worth working? Is it something very new? Then again you resurvey the literature. Are you missing something? Then after doing all this, you critique the literature and you see, is there something which is a lacuna in the literature? And can I write a review of the whole available literature and highlight the lacuna, which will be an original idea and many journals would publish the review, or you will be successful in writing the thesis. So this is what we will be doing when we are writing a thesis, we are writing an original article, we are writing a review article, or we are writing a research grant. Therefore, literature search is essential before starting a research study. Why? Because you have to find out what has already been done so that you know this has been done, this has not been done. So therefore, if I plan to do this, this will be something new. You will know what method did the previous worker use. Because if you know what method the previous worker used, you will tend to follow the same path. You will also like to know what are the problems that the previous worker faced so that while you plan the study, you will obviate all these problems or try to obviate all these problems. You will have to reference the background information, because otherwise you cannot impress upon your peer reviewer or the grant giving authority why they should spend money on your project. You have to point out the gap in the current scientific knowledge, and you have to state how the study would bridge the gap in the knowledge. It basically means the literature search is key to the success in all this. Now, how do you do the literature search? You just don't blindly write anything and everything. You have to use keyword to actually do a literature search. So what are these keywords? Keywords are called medical subject heading words, or MESH word. Therefore, if you just use any and every sentence or word in the PubMed, that is not a fair way of searching literature. You should go to this medical subject heading book, which in our time used to be a printed copy only, but now you can go to MESH electronically and choose the word from there. For example, if you are doing COVID-19, now if the medical subject heading doesn't say COVID, it is better to say COVID-19 rather than COVID. You understand? So that is what you have to do. Sorry, 1 minute. Hello. मैं क्लास ले रहा हूँ थोड़ी देर में. ठीक, क्लास ले. हाँ 1 second. ठीक. Now then, what you do is that you talk about the medical subject heading and use those headings only. If you read any article, what the article does is, article writes a title, but you will see below the abstract, it writes a lot of keywords. These keywords article write from the medical subject heading words. Why does it write that? It writes that because it wants that whenever somebody puts those words in the PubMed or any other search engine, this article should be captured by that search. So that's why you use keywords and the medical subject heading words. But let us say if I write, let us say hydroxychloroquine. I'm interested in hydroxychloroquine. That does hydroxychloroquine work in COVID-19? Now the problem is if I write hydroxychloroquine, a lot of articles will come. It will come in relation to maybe malaria. It will come maybe in relation to rheumatoid arthritis and many autoimmune diseases. It will come in relation to COVID-19. Now let us say we get 20,000 hit. And out of this 20,000 hit, I have to search and search to find out which are COVID-19 related. Now you will say, no, sir. You just write hydroxychloroquine in COVID-19, in COVID-19. What will happen is the moment you write that, you will get thousands of articles on hydroxychloroquine, another maybe 10,000 articles on COVID-19. So you now got 11,000 from which you have to search. That's why what we use is called Boolean operator. What is Boolean operator? Boolean operator is if I write hydroxychloroquine and then write capital and AND all in capital, then COVID-19, it will give all articles which relate to COVID-19 and hydroxychloroquine. If I write hydroxychloroquine, capital OR means or, COVID-19, it will give everything which either has hydroxychloroquine or has COVID-19. But if I write hydroxychloroquine, not COVID-19, not capital, NOT, then it will give all the things related to hydroxychloroquine, excluding COVID-19. So this is called Boolean operator. It is one of the methods for electronic search. I wanted to just introduce you to this, but obviously, I suppose my next speaker is going to show you how Boolean operator works. Now let us go to another search engine. Though PubMed is the most popular search engine by the medical scientists, But obviously, there is a whole session I heard from Dr. Preeti on PubMed. So therefore, let us go to other search engine. For example, Google and Google Scholar. Google is www.google.com or google.co.in. Google Scholar is http://scholar.google.co.in. You will say, what is the difference between these two? See, Google catches anything which is available electronically in the web. So suppose if there is an advertisement from a company, this will also be taken up by Google. Anything that remains electronically anywhere in the world for a duration of time, Google will pick it up. So if Google picks it up, what is the problem? Problem is if I'm doing a literature search using Google, so a lot of company advertisement, lot of shop advertisement, lot of XYZ thing which I do not want to search as a scholar will be coming. So I'm interested only in scholarly literature. So when you want to search for scholarly literature, you just search Google Scholar and this will give you scholarly literature. It will give you peer-reviewed paper. It will give you thesis, but PubMed will not give you thesis. PubMed only lists those journals which are having indexed or which are indexed. But in addition, PubMed has taken it after sufficient review about regularity of its publication, about this place of origin of this publication, about the conflict of interest of this publication, about the quality of this publication, and so on. But Google Scholar will take thesis, it takes books, it takes abstract, it takes professional society uploads, it takes preprint repositories, it takes universities and other scholarly organizations. So therefore, what you get in PubMed is very filtered thing. What you get is in Google is the most unfiltered thing, and what you get in Google Scholar is in between. Now look at this. I have done a Google Scholar search here, and I have given cryptosporidium and transplant recipient, and I got a lot of scholarly thing there. Now, what is the extra advantage of Google Scholar over PubMed? Because PubMed is so good, give selected things. Why should I at all go to Google Scholar? The reason is many a time when you have published, you want to know whether you have been cited. Because if we publish something which is not cited, it is worth not publishing. It is worth introspecting yourself. Are you doing some quality work? Because people are not citing you. People are not bothering to talk about you. So look at this. I've done a Google Scholar search here, and it says in the bottom, cited by 11 papers or 11 authors. And if I click here, I can even know who are the author, which are the journal, who cited me. So this is to track some author's performance about citation. In addition, it obviously gives the title, it gives related article, it gives library link. Forget about that. I'm interested in Google Scholar that whether my paper has been cited or not, because many a time you apply for anything, they want that you have published extensively, I know. But I want to know, are you cited enough? So I need to know my citation. Also, another advantage is Google, when you are preparing a presentation, you need to actually get a lot of image, and all the time clicking image and here and there and making your own repository is like trying to rediscover the wheel. So therefore it becomes difficult. So in Google, you write whatever you want and click on image in the top menu bar, and it will give a lot of images which are available in the web. But remember one thing, when you use that, be careful. Never use those in your published article, because most of them are copyrighted. So therefore, if you publish those in your article, like even a review article, you are subject to litigation. There can be compensation asked from you. It is like plagiarism. It is doing plagiarism of the images. So therefore, what happens is also many professional societies which are of really good standard, they say if you are putting an image, it should not be a copyrighted image. It should be your own image, or it should be an image where you have taken from some source but took permission from that source. Okay. But many a time I use this image to make my idea, to make a drawing, and then make an original drawing before I publish something. Now this is Scopus. Scopus is a paid system. So Scopus is a paid system. Scopus is a very good search engine, but it is a paid system. But many of the journals, at least in gastroenterology, I'm sure it would be same in other field. When you do a peer review, you really give people time, you give the journal time and do not get any reward. So therefore, many journal has a system that if you have peer reviewed for them, they give you a reward giving 3-month Scopus subscription free of cost. So I'll show you what I do with Scopus. Look at this. Scopus is one of the best way to look at what is your citation, because I can track my citation like this before 2000, 2006, 2007, 2008, and so on. Obviously, this search was done quite a long time ago. Therefore, this is only listing up to 2008, and you get year by year your number of citation. Also, all the articles that you have produced, it is like you assess your students to know that whether the student is good or average. Similarly, you assess your articles, whether you have published something worth publishing or not. Because if I find an article has been extensively cited, I know this is an area which I should work, I should imitate this sort of publication. Now, what is H-index? H-index is an author level matrix. H-index is an author level matrix. I'll not go to the mathematics of the matrix because it will make things cumbersome. This was innovated or developed by a fellow whose name is George E. Hirsch in 2005. So that means quite some time ago, about 15 years ago. And what is this H-index? The H-index, let us say, look at my H-index. So what I have done is in the Google Scholar, I have put my name. After putting my name, I have clicked and it shows me total publication. It shows how many paper I have published. It shows how many times they have been cited. It says 10,767 times. It says in last 5 years, how many times cited? This is 6,090. This is called citation half-life. So that means if you produce a paper and it is being cited beyond 5 years, that means your citation half-life is reasonable. If it is not being cited beyond 5 years, that also you can check from here. Look at H-index. H-index says that around 56. So what is H-index? H-index is the number of indented to represent both the productivity and impact of a particular scientist. So it says that how much you are producing and what is your impact. Impact means it is based on citation, and productivity is the based on number of paper published. So based on number of paper published and based on citation, the product of these two is H-index. Okay. Now it says, let us say H-index of somebody is, let us say 55. What does it mean? 55 means that at least 10 papers, 55 papers have been cited more than 55 times. So 55 papers have been cited 55 times. So if I produce 300 papers, only 55 of my papers were cited more than 55 times. That is H-index. What is the I-10 index? I-10 index is 10 stands for citation. 10 stands for citation here. So that means it tells me that of all the paper that I produced, 211 paper were cited more than 10 times. So 211 paper were cited more than 10 times. Also, literature search is important to say, are you missing something? Like, let us say you wrote a paper. You wrote a paper, and after writing the paper, you are not very careful to see whether you are missing something or not. What is missing something? Look at this. This is one of the journal page in which I am the editor. And if you look at the left side of this, in a small red writing, it gives me that how much is the copying or similarity with another paper. So the moment the editor sees a paper, the journal has an inbuilt system most good journal have. This system is called Authenticate. For Authenticate is a company. They have to pay to this company. What Authenticate does is all the electronic scientific scholarly paper available in the world, they actually have their database linked to their system. So what happens is it start matching the database, seeing that did this author actually copy somebody else's language. Now here the editor in one glance see that one paper copying has been maybe 15%. In another paper, copying has been maybe 22%. And in another paper, copying may be to the tune of 40% or more. I can't read it very well. So we can see that this paper, which is 15%, is a reasonable paper, obviously. And these paper are not reasonable paper. So if the author searched the electronic database very well, he could have also made out that I'm tending to copy, or maybe reverse is true. Maybe he has searched extensively, but used things wrongly. He has copied from other literature. So you are trying to hide something. What are you trying to hide? You are trying to hide that you have read papers before, you have used it wrongly, you have copied their sentences, and then you think editor will not be able to pick up. It is not possible that an editor has read everything in the world. You are absolutely wrong, because this is already inbuilt in the system. And this we called as plagiarism. And plagiarism, truly speaking, is a punishable offense in the academic world. Now, you want to again know through search engine, like I was talking about author. An author is performing whether his I-10 index is good or not good, whether his H index is good or not good. Similarly, the journal also uses literature search to know whether their journal impact is good or not good. So that is called impact factor. What is impact factor? Impact factor is, let us say, if there is a journal in 1 year, let us say 2018, these journals has published 100 articles. 2018, these journals has published 100 articles. Now, in the subsequent 2 years, if these articles are cited by other authors, let us say 2,000 times, so the impact factor of the journal is 2,000 divided by 100 is equal to 20. So that is also obviously done through the literature search, and people think that higher impact journal are better journal. Okay. Now I'll skip this, but maybe if some people are interested, let me tell you. Open access journal, like when I was doing a literature search, you find that some of the papers are open access. Some of the papers are open access. Open access means you click and immediately it opens. In open access journal, often authors have paid the fees for publication. Sometimes the society which is publishing this journal might have paid the fees, and the fees is not small. It is from $2,000 to $3,000. Now, those journals which are open access often tend to have a better citation than those which are not open access, and this is called Feuilleton bias. Feuilleton is full text on the net bias. Now, there are other search engines. These are also very important. One of them is Cochrane Library. So Cochrane Library what they do is they actually invites people of standing and those who are interested to do meta-analysis and systematic review and meta-analysis for them. Now then, once systematic review and meta-analysis is done, if this is of sufficient quality, they publish it. Often they help the author in doing some literature search. They may give access to some of the literature which are not open access. They may give other sort of support with expertise. And then they publish this material. They keep it open access so that broadly all the scientists can be benefited. So this is a very good search engine for your literature search. And in fact, if you read one Cochrane review, let us say published today, you can be reasonably sure that most of the work which are important that in that field have been cited in this Cochrane review. So therefore, it is good to supplement your own literature search using any search engine by a systematic review if it is available in Cochrane, recently published. That is very important. Okay. Now there are ample number of other search engines. Obviously, we are not going to just wait 1 minute. Hello, sir. Yes. Now what happens is there are ample number other search engines. In fact, many of their publishers have their own search engine. For example, look at here, Springerly. Springer now has sort of blended with Nature. So Nature is a publishing house, Springer is a publishing house. They blended with each other. And then what happens is the Springer Nature, they publish huge number of journals, books, and other scholarly content, and this is a search engine. So they show it as a search engine. Similarly, look at this, I've listed here, Sage Publication. This is again another publishing house. Thomson Reuters is the company which gives actually the impact factor for the journal, and they also provide you search engine. So there are a lot of such search engines available. Now this is another search engine. EndNote. So EndNote is what? When you use references, often you use an electronic technology to put the references. So these electronic technologies, several are available. For example, Reference Manager, for example, EndNote. There are also some which are free of cost. Now what happens is this EndNote helps to produce you a library. From the library itself, you can cite into the word directly without much effort. But what happens is in the same library, I can go to tool and then I can say search reference. Then I can put here author name. I can put here journal name or whatever. I can put here keyword and click on the search and produce the library directly from the literature if my computer having EndNote has an internet connection. So therefore, many of these which are actually referencing engine, they are the one these are the ones which help the author to refer to or create the reference section in their article. Even there, to make the things convenient, they have actually produced a search engine. And typically, whatever search engine you want to connect, let us say you want to do a PubMed search through EndNote, just you connect to PMID. So you open EndNote, then you say search, it will ask which search engine you want to use for searching. You say, I want to search PubMed. So click on PubMed, then EndNote will do search in PubMed and then produce the library and you can save that library. So I thought this is a brief introduction to the literature search. So now, obviously, I tried to really keep it brief. I tried to keep it quite inclusive rather than exclusive to one particular search engine. Also, I did not enter into too much technical detail because coordinator told me that there are other experts who are going to demonstrate you the technical detail. Now, if you have any question, I'll really like to answer.
Sir,
Yes. Oh.
so my question is whether there is any particular search engine which is better over others, which is the best one, which if I choose one search engine to use.
You see, what happens is, I don't think you can call anything as best or anything as worst. But if you say Google is the one which produces most redundant search. So Google is the one which produces most redundant searches or searches having most redundant material. Whereas if you look at the Scopus and all, they're quite restrictive, okay? They're quite restrictive. Similarly, PubMed is quite restrictive. Like you can name several journals which are being published for many years, but still they are not in PubMed. Also, PubMed periodically removes the journal from their search engine if they find that journal is not really wholesome, is quite regional or local, even not regional, local. The content is not good, regularity of publication is not good, peer review process is not good, they don't follow blinded peer review system, rejection rate is poor, citation is poor, they remove it. So what I'm saying is that's why when you do a PubMed search, you get a very restrictive material, but it is like you are getting the most filtered material. Whereas if you want a redundant search, so then you go to Google. Many a time it is good to use both. The reason I will tell you, many a time because of the restriction, some of the things you may not get in PubMed, particularly which are not indexed in PubMed, but those things you can get in Google. One more thing I'll tell you here, since you asked this question. When you do a systematic review, today there is a guideline which says you should use more than 2 search engines, maybe 3 is better. So why do they say that? That basically all the systematic review, the editor want your systematic review should be very thorough, very comprehensive. To make it comprehensive, they want actually 3 search engines. And in these 3 search engines, they stress not on Google because Google produces a lot of redundant search. They say that you can use PubMed, you can use Scopus, you can use Embase, and so on. So what I'm saying is that basically tells you maybe they rely more on PubMed, Embase, and Scopus rather than Google. So if I go by them, then I would say these are the 3 good ones.
Thank you.
Any other question?
Good evening, sir. Thank you for the inspiring presentation. Actually, this Zotero and EndNote, do they have the same function, sir, when we use them when you're coming to bibliography citation?
You see, I do not use Zotero. Is the Zotero one which gives you free? Am I right?
Yes, sir. Zotero.
Yeah,
free.
I did use Zotero. So what happens is I use EndNote. But what I'm saying is I find the EndNote is very comprehensive. It is reasonably simple. I can use even my own library, uploading all the PDFs into the EndNote. So I do not know about Zotero because I have not used it. But what happens is, are you comfortable with Zotero?
Yes, sir. I used previously and I was.
Does it create error? Like, let us say in EndNote, if I produce a paper, let us say if I produce a paper, now I send to X journal rejected that paper. Now I want to go to Y journal, and the Y journal has a different style of reference. Now I put one click and it will convert the whole of the reference section according to Y journal. Does Zotero do that?
Yes, sir. Zotero also has the same option. We can
Now,
convert between.
I don't know because I have not used both. I am not the best person to compare between these two. But what I am saying is you have to see that the number of journals that EndNote gives, journal style that EndNote gives is phenomenal, maybe compared to Jotero. Because that is where there could be a difference. Number of journal style that EndNote gives is phenomenal, maybe compared to Jotero. You will tell me how many Jotero gives, but I know EndNote is phenomenal. It is not only medical journal, it gives engineering journal, it gives general science journal, it gives even others type of journal which have nothing to do with medical science. So that is one where maybe EndNote may score over Jotero. Any other question? Yes. Any other question? No more question? If there is no other question, even now also we can take up any question if you have. But if there is no other question, okay, some chat is coming. What is that? Okay. So there is a question from Dr. Sarthak Agrawal. Is there way to access paid apps like EndNote in our institute? Currently, no. Currently, no. Okay. So thank you so much. So it was a pleasure talking with you and sharing some of these ideas related to research. I think there are other speakers after me who will demonstrate some of the search engine. Thank you so much.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. And there are just two announcements to be made. First of all, after Amita ma'am lecture is over, please switch on all the video screen of all the participants because we have to take a snapshot and that shall be attendance. Okay. need not do it now. After Amita ma'am's lecture is over, okay? She's just coming in a couple of minutes. So after that lecture is over, please switch on your, in the last 4-5 minutes, just switch on your video camera so that the screenshot can be taken. That shall be counted as your attendance. Point number 2, there shall be your exam, the first exam on Saturday, okay? It shall be an online exam through Google Sheets. So be ready for Saturday. Saturday at about 11, or it can be before or after that, but in all probability we will have it on Saturday. Okay. Just wait for a couple of minutes.
Okay, sir.
Yes, somebody wants to ask something.
So if the person is posted in the COVID duty actively and misses the test, so
Please can you identify yourself? Who are you?
I'm Dr. Rakesh from Gastromedicine.
Okay, Rakesh, yeah, please go ahead. Yeah, what are you saying?
I was asking if I'm now actually actively posted in COVID duty, and in Saturday slot, I will be doing COVID duty then. How to? Do you have any alternative plans for exams?
Okay, I will talk to Amita ma'am and see what can be done for you. But will it be possible for you to not attend the morning session? There is one student. He is Rakesh. He is to be posted. He's posted to COVID. Saturday को मैम उसका वो है एग्जाम प्रीति मैम का, तो कह रहे हैं कि प्लीज एनिबल टू टेक दैट एग्जाम सैटरडे. कोई बात नहीं, कर देंगे. Okay, Rakesh, we will see what can be done.
So all of you don't get worried. Relax, enjoy, do your COVID duty and do your foundation course. We will sort it out. If you're not able to attend some of the sessions, you can write to Dr. Preeti, and you can also write on an email ID which I am giving you, which is 01 courses. I think I have sent a mail to you. So you can write on that and we will send you the recorded, hopefully some of the things if possible. Otherwise your exam can be held later. So because I'm getting so many phone calls, it's very difficult for me to attend individual phone calls during the OPD hours, during ward rounds, and at 10 o'clock in the night, which I don't think is fair for you people to disturb. So if you have any queries, please send all your emails to this email ID, which I am giving you. I don't know how many of you are attending the course at this time. How many people are there? 71 people. So good. A lot of people are logged in. So you please note down this email ID. Any queries, please send to this 01course.sgpgi@gmail.
Everybody will see it then.
Okay. This can you type? This one. 01 course. So 01 course. Course small. Everything small. .sgpgi@gmail.com. And you mark a copy to Dr. Anything you send for any courses in future, please mark a copy to the course coordinator. In this case, the course coordinator is Dr. Preeti Dabargao. So you can send a mail to this email ID, which I will be seeing, and the course coordinator. The reply, expect reply within 24 hours. Don't think that we have only this job and your reply will come within 20 minutes or 30 minutes. It's not possible. We are all clinicians. We also have to do our own work. And last 2 days have been absolutely harrowing for me. So this is the first course. So I'm just telling you that we need to have minimum etiquettes and conduct rules, how to go with your own colleagues and with your seniors and with your juniors. That is why we have planned, I think, one lecture on this, that interpersonal relationships are built on trust and faith. It cannot be that we are at beck and call. We are always for students, but we can't be at beck and call. So if you have any queries, please write down. And we also, all of us understand that we are going through trying times. So we have said that even if you miss 3 times in a whole course of 2 credits, you will be given full credits. But assessment has to be done. Any course which is run, if it does not have an assessment, it doesn't mean anything. You go to any good university, there will be some amount of assessment. And we should not shy away from assessment, because assessment is every day. Every day patient is assessing us when we are talking to the patient, when we are prescribing medicine, when we are looking after them. So assessment is part and parcel of our life. I don't know why as students we feel so threatened by an exam. Exam is nothing. So don't worry about exams. Relax, enjoy, be happy, think that you're learning something. And that's how learning is, to enjoy it. I mean, I don't want to give you a lecture on it. And I hope you people will not disturb me unnecessarily from henceforth. And let me sleep in peace in the night. So Dr. Ghoshal has already taken his part of the class. And what I'm going to discuss is absolutely what I think all of you know. We are just going to have a simple dialogue on how we choose and plan a research project, because this course is already late. So I think all of you, at least the DM and MCH students, must have already planned what project are they going to do, because we don't have the new batch joining as yet with us. Probably the new people who are with us are the MD students who have joined in 2020 and some PhD students. So probably we can't have too much of interactive sessions nowadays. So can one of you tell us, how did you choose your MD thesis topic? Just one of you. Or maybe Rakesh Kumar. I can see S. Rakesh Kumar. If you can unmute yourself and tell me, how did you choose your MD thesis topic?
I chose my MD thesis topic because in my medical college, there was particular mortality related to suicidal death of farmers.
Okay.
Consuming OP poisons and herbicide poisons.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I could make a difference by studying this topic.
Okay. So did you choose it, or did your guide choose the topic?
I proposed the idea, and he proposed how to go forward.
Yes, so that's a very good way of choosing a research project, as we will see later. So I don't know, because we can't take head count here, but when I do these classes before last few years, it's always been that 95% of the students say that they have chosen their MD thesis topic based on what their guide said. And they hardly had any liberty to choose any topic. So you are fortunate, Rakesh, I must say, and credit goes to you for your keen observation.
Thank you.
If you look at the difference between research and discovery, discovery is like Charles Darwin saw something and we thought of it, or we can just discover something out of blue. Whatever we find for the first time, we say we have discovered it. But research is not that easy. Research is it's a very scholarly or a scientific activity. It needs very close, careful study in an orderly fashion to discover new facts or new information. So it cannot be done in a hurry. It needs time, energy, money, everything. So the question arises, some of you always think, why is this institution asking us to do this research project? Why should I do it? I am only going to see patients in future. So one of the criteria for students is because it's a requirement for your training. So you do it as a burden, as a compulsion to fulfill the requirement of your training program. As you did in MD, some of you might be doing that also in the DM. Then for faculty, requirement for promotions. And either you, according to MCI, you need to have X number of publications, and if you don't have it, you are not qualified as a teacher. But there are others who enjoy doing it, who have that questioning mind, who have quest for knowledge, who want to know why is this happening. And there are some others who do it to gain better status in the society, because people who publish are better known in the scientific circles. Even your institution gives you much more importance if you really publish and you are a well researcher who publishes a lot. So it gives you a better status in the institution itself. And for the medical school, it helps in recognition of your college or your institution across the world, because nowadays everything is what is your institution contributing. And one of the areas in which contribution is counted is research publication. Other is obviously patent, how well you do patient care. And it's been very well said by a previous director of NIH that institutions which are well known across the world are also well known for their research contribution. Because when you do research, you have a questioning mind, and that makes you even question things in patient care, in patient diagnosis. You make better patient diagnosis, better patient management, and these two in turn lead to better teaching. So if you see good institutions across the world, they would probably be good in all the three areas. And for the society, why does the society want us to do research? Because they want us to develop better drugs for them. They want us to develop better diagnostic tests so that the diseases can be diagnosed much earlier. And for a country like ours, we also need to have research on how to reduce costs of medical care. And last but not the least, actually, we don't want diseases. We want good health. So how can we have interventions which can prevent development of disease and improve our health indices? So that is what the society is looking at. So let's see what are the various steps when you want to do research. The most important and the foremost is choosing the right research question. Once you have the right question, you also need to develop a protocol on how to answer that research question. And then once you've developed a protocol, you need to execute. The execution means you collect the data during the time you're doing the study. And once you've collected the data, you need to make sense of it. To make the sense of it, you need to analyze your data and find out what is this data telling you. And last but not the least is to draw and disseminate your conclusions. If you have done it and you haven't told anybody, it is as good as you haven't done it. So what is a research question? A research question is nothing, but it's an uncertainty about something, that we're not sure about something. Actually, in the population, because whenever we talk of the whole population, that the investigator or you want to resolve by making measurements or some study on your study subjects, either by just seeing them, like we do it in an observational study, or we interfere with the natural course, like you do an interventional study. But all interventional studies are done in a planned manner. It's not a haphazard intervention. It is a planned intervention. So this is what actually a research question is. So a research question can be as simple as that. What causes dental caries? Can we do something about dental caries? Or it can be even, when you see our patients in the OPD are not satisfied. One reason could be that they have long waiting times. So how can we improve the patient satisfaction in our outpatient clinics? Or it could be that how can we help patients with high blood pressure who cannot take drugs which are currently available? Can we provide them some new drug? So as Rakesh had told us just in the beginning, that he thought of a research question by observing a phenomenon. He found that there were a lot of farmer suicides by using organophosphorus. So he did study on that. So you can have, if you're a keen observer, and all of you have done MBBS and MD, so you have already had 8 to 9 years of training, you may have made some observation during this period, and you may pursue that, how to Why is that observation happening? It could also be a practical problem in the field. Like we have patients who cannot afford standard of care. Can we provide them some cheaper therapies? Or can we repurpose drugs? The drugs which are used for other disease indications, but they have many other pathways which they affect. Can we use them? Because they have been used for long. They are much cheaper than the drugs which we are using. Or it could be that you're reading every day and you find something which is so fascinating and you would like to pursue it. Then sometimes what happens is, like COVID-19 came. So every funding agency is sending out requests in the newspaper, in the other areas, that please send requests, proposals to us, or research proposals on COVID-19. So you might think of a proposal on COVID-19 and send it to a funding agency, or you might do it just yourself. So you always have to think of an idea when you want to do research. Then for people like us who have been in the field for 30 years, we work on only very few focused areas. So whenever we do research, we always, with one project, you answer that question, but there are 10 more questions which come up during the period. So you build up on your previous experience and you gradually keep on answering one after another question. You also should be alert to new ideas, either when you're reading or when your friends are presenting journal clubs. Because journal clubs are one place where you can really think of new ideas. Because most of the journal clubs which are presented in our most departments are very recent topics. They are state-of-the-art articles, and they would also throw up some questions. Alternatively, when you go and attend national meetings, their data is presented. Some of the data may look very different, and you might think, why are they finding this kind of a results? And you may like to answer that question. For radiologists or for interventional people who do intervention, a new technology comes, and then they want to compare. Like when the PET CT came, everybody is comparing how good is PET CT to detect residual malignancy vis-a-vis conventional CT. So whenever any, like, or people who are cardiologists, if you get a new stent, they will compare, is drug-eluting stent better than bare stents? Or if something else has come in, you can do a comparison study. So ideas can come from multiple sources, but you must have your imagination roaming. Then only you can imbibe those ideas and think of a research project. The most important thing is that the idea which you are thinking, is it really new? Because we really don't want to do research. That is, that everything is known, we are just doing the same thing over again. So how do you find out that it is really new? Like Dr. Ghoshal has just told you how to do literature search. So one thing is that do a good literature search using PubMed. You can also use other search engines. It's not that everything is indexed in PubMed. There are articles which are published outside PubMed. So you can use Google Scholar. You can do it on other, just put it in Google itself and search. You can look, generally it's a good idea to look up recent journals. And when you do search, don't do a very narrow search, because sometimes the articles are published in related areas. So do a little broad search and scan through those articles so that you know that nobody has published in that area. Generally, textbooks are not good for research ideas, but textbooks give you an overall idea about that subject. The other thing is to go down, walk down to your mentor and ask that person, because that person has been in the field for 20 to 40 years. They know overall what is happening in that area. So they may be able to help you and tell you that, is it really new or not? Because we don't want to reinvent the wheel. And because what happens is that if we don't do a good search at this time, you plan your study, you finish your study, and then when you want to send for publication, they say, oh, it's been done 20 years ago. There's nothing new. And it never gets published. So it's better to work in the beginning than to feel sorry at the end. So when you plan any research question, in addition to it being a novel question, you also should be clear, what is the purpose of this research? Its fundamental concept, its main aim. Is it to help patient care? Is it to improve patient satisfaction? Is it that I'm just doing it for my own curiosity, everything is good, but you need to be clear. Don't be ambiguous in that. Because every research means a lot of time, energy is spent on it. So it must have some significance. After you found out that the research idea is novel, then we need to find out, is it feasible? Because I can't do, if suppose I want to see, is there a life on Mars? I know it's not feasible. I won't be able to do it. So I need to find out, is my idea feasible? And feasibility has multiple components, especially for a project which you do in a short period of time, that you have only 2 years to do a project. So you need to be sure that this project can be finished in time. You have equipment and chemicals available, because if you think that your department will order an equipment and then you will do the project, it may not finish in time. Then do you have the training and skill to do that thing, or your mentor or in your department that is available? If not, can your department collaborate with somebody to get that skill for you? Then do you really have the substrate? If you're working on patients, would you be getting adequate number of patients in that time frame or not? If you're working on animal model, would you be able to develop that animal model or not? Then do you have the money? Because no research can be done unless it's only questionnaire based without money. So your supervisor needs to have that kind of money which is needed for the project. And lastly, always think that if you were asked to participate in that study, would you like to participate or not? Then only do that study, because the ethics of research are the most important. We have some sources from where the students can get funding. ICMR has a scheme where they give you thesis grant for MD and DM. There is a separate scheme for Northeast region students. Then some institutions give grant for MD thesis and DM thesis. Our institution provides it through the intramural scheme. That is, your mentor can write an intramural scheme, and through the intramural grant, if they can get it, then a student's project can be funded through that. Some societies provide grants for student project, like our society gives grant of about 1 lakh, but these are all competitive grants. It's not that you sent it and you will always get it, because there are limited numbers. So Indian Journal of Rheumatology also used to give grants for undergraduates. Asia Pacific region gives grant. And for PhD students, some grants are available from DST Inspire. Now, once you've thought of a research idea, now you have to make it into a research plan. So your research question is for the whole population, but the study obviously cannot be done on a whole population. You will only be using a small sample. So here, your research question is a phenomenon of interest, but here you will be using certain variables to measure that phenomenon of interest. It's always good that your research plan has one primary question, because the primary question is the one on which you calculate your sample size. Other questions are always secondary. If you calculate your sample size based on 7 questions, then you have to take the largest sample size. So always have one primary question in your study. So now you've had your research question made, you now need to develop a protocol. So for protocol development, always you need to have a research hypothesis. A hypothesis is nothing but it's a logical supposition. Because whenever we read, after you've done a PubMed search, you have a reasonable guess or an educated conjecture that which provides a tentative explanation for the phenomenon which you're investigating. Like I might say that sugar causes caries. If I had a question, what causes caries tooth? I think children who eat a lot of sugar, candies and chocolates, and they are the ones who get. So I may say that chocolates may cause. So it always has a may, because I'm not sure. I'm just only making a guess. So research hypothesis is like this. The excess salt in the soil may affect plant growth. A drug A may reduce diastolic blood pressure. But till you prove it, you're not sure. So then we convert it into a formalized hypothesis. Like if we are saying that a drug A may reduce diastolic blood pressure, we say if drug A is related to diastolic blood pressure, then the blood pressure will be expected to be lower after a person has received this drug than what blood pressure he had before it. So the independent variable here is the drug. The dependent variable is the blood pressure, because blood pressure is dependent on the drug which we will prescribe. So you need to have, this is called the PICO study, PICO protocol. So PICO means P is for participant. Who is the patient or what problem is being addressed? Intervention. What is the intervention you are giving to the patient? Comparison. What are you comparing with? So what is the comparison group? Outcome is what outcome are you measuring? And you also need to decide what study design is the best for answering that question. So you decide on your tools and methods, you define your patient population very well, define very clear inclusion and exclusion criteria. To avoid any ambiguity, write it down. Define your primary endpoint, that is the primary question, and the secondary questions. Define your measurement tools. How would you measure it? If you're measuring blood pressure, would you measure by sphygmomanometer? Would you measure by electronic instrument? Would you do an intra-arterial blood pressure monitoring? So you need to be absolutely clearly defined. Would it be after 20 minutes of rest? Would it be in a standing position? Whatever. Define your sample size based on your primary question and define your statistical method a priori. They don't need to be done after you've done the study because you know your question, you know your population, so you really know what statistics you need to use. Then you write up your synopsis and present in the department. Always present in the department to get feedback from people. And don't feel bad if you get a critical feedback because the person who's giving you the criticism is actually helping you to improve. Rather, he's doing you a service by giving his critical input. So the usual problems which we face are that the research, it's too vague. It's absolutely inappropriate. So you need to write down the research question, specify it, use all these points and then write your synopsis. It could be that it's not feasible. It's too broad. You want to do 100 things under the earth, which is not feasible to do in such a short time. So you specify your fewer variables. Sometimes we find that we want to, suppose I want to work on a genetic disease. I have said I will see all patients who have microcephaly with this. I have made it too stringent. And I know that in 2 years, I am not going to get that many patients because my guide says, no, you won't get. So I can do is I can expand my inclusion criteria. I may just take all patients with microcephaly. Or I can increase my recruitment time if I am not in a course. Sometimes the methods are inadequate. Then you go and consult the experts and learn new skills because those methods are either obsolete or they cannot be done here. If you find that it is costing too much and your mentor says, sorry, I don't have money, then you need to either get cheaper alternative, use different outcome tools which are cheaper, or you try to generate a grant. But the most important thing is that unfortunately we find that the question which we have raised is actually not wrong. Then you need to restart from beginning. You have to modify your research question and start from scratch. And ethical uncertainty, obviously. You consult your ethics committee people if you are not certain that is it going to be ethical or not. But generally, ethics is nothing but morality in you. And you can always know, is it ethical to do this thing or not? So once you have developed your protocol, written it, because writing is most important, because there you spell out in black and white. Then you carry out your study and collect data. When you are carrying out study, always record the whole procedure in full detail. Maintain a logbook. Record your results absolutely truthfully. Because it doesn't matter if the result is coming totally opposite to what you thought, because that is probably going to be much more revealing than what you thought if the same came. And record your results immediately. What people do is put it on a scrap of paper. Okay, I'll go to the hostel and then I will put it in my logbook. It gets lost and then you can't retrieve it. So it should be recorded as soon as you have made the observation. Record even those results which do not fit with your hypothesis or are not reproduced later. If you want to cut out, we all can do mistakes. If you want to cut out anything, just put a line over it so that it can be read, that what you had written before that and what you have corrected. And keep all your original records. If you are doing a study on ECG, all ECGs need to be stored. If you are doing radiology, keep all your X-rays, CT, MRs, record it. It is said that for any research project, 10 years we should keep the data. If you are in the lab, store all your gel pictures. You can store them in electronic versions because ECG also fades out. So take a picture of ECG, scan it, and store it. Similarly, for lab experiment, ELISA readings, anything. And transfer your data to a computer because so many people just keep it in their pen drives. And pen drive can get lost anytime. And then the whole data is lost. So keep it at 2 or 3 places. The other important points are that whenever you do anything, do a trial run. See, are you getting reproducible result or not? If it doesn't come, try to sort out the problem. Same in the lab. If you're running an assay, look at how much is the variability between assay run 2 times or assay run the same day 3 times. So inter and intra-assay variability is very, very important to see. Because if you find a minor difference between your control and the other group, it could be just because of this variability. And actually there is no difference in the 2 groups. And we must run all appropriate controls, be it for clinical study, be it for lab experiments. So I see most of you people write, we have taken age and gender matched controls. Actually, we never do matching. Matching means that you match one patient to one control. What we do is we are doing age and gender similar controls. So it's good to be truthful to say that we have just done age and gender similar. Like I work with children for my research. I am interested in juvenile arthritis. I am very honest. I tell them, sorry, I am not able to take children controls. I am taking young adult controls. So I take controls from 18 to 20 years. Sometimes the reviewer writes that maybe they cannot be compared. I say, sorry, it's not possible for me to have children controls. I'm not ethically able to get controls from children. Then once you have done your studies, you need to analyze the thing. Analysis should not be left totally to the end. Always do a regular review. Assess your progress. Discuss with your mentor your problems. Don't put it under the carpet. And then they will become a big issue at the end of 2 years. So every 2 months or 3 months, have a meeting with your mentor. And if there is a problem, you can always modify things. And modification is allowed everywhere. If you and your mentor are not able to sort out your problem, solicit help from colleagues. And do a midterm presentation in your department. Like we have a 6 monthly to 8 monthly presentation in our department for all projects, so that we can give feedback if project is not working out. Maybe sometimes even the project totally needs to be changed. But it can be done rather than doing it 2 years, it's better to do it 8 months. So once you have done it, you need to draw your conclusions, and you will be having a full classes on biostatistics, how to analyze the result data and to draw conclusions out of it and disseminated the conclusions. So just to summarize, plan and discuss with your guide when you're planning a research project. Have a very focused question. Don't think you can do everything under the earth in 2 years. You must have a well-defined protocol, which should be written, because if you don't write, then you are not clear. You must do honest recording of data using correct tools and have midterm reviews or even a more frequent reviews with your mentor. Do revision if needed, analyze, and then make a conclusion. But the most important thing after doing all that hard work is that it should come into public domain. We have spent public money, public time, because the government is paying us for the time we are spending in the institution. So we have a responsibility that the time we are spending into the research project, that should be put into public domain. So we need to write and send for publication. As is said, that a work not published is actually work not done. So if you have any questions, I can take up. So anybody has any questions? Stop sharing. Okay, so any questions? You can write in the chat box or you can ask.
Good evening, ma'am. Thank you for the presentation. I'm Jay Kumar from SR from nephrology.
Yes.
Actually, we've a few of us have planned the research project, and we find that it is during this current pandemic, we are unable to run a prospective trial because of the lack of numbers.
Yes.
Sample size was somewhere between 350, and that was also not a very common thing. So we were expecting we'll get around 400, 500 patients, and then loss of attrition, everything. We may be able to reach 350, but now the load has come down so much. Now whether we have to start all over again or go back and do a retrospective study. So we had designed a retrospective also that we are doing. Just wanted your opinion on this, ma'am.
So, I mean, this is a very unprecedented situation in a century. So that's what has happened to our fellows also. So what we have done in our department is we have given them something which can be done over a questionnaire, or they can do a retrospective review, because prospective studies at this time are very difficult to do. And everybody understands that it is not possible to do prospective studies because our patient load has reduced. Patients are themselves scared to come to the outpatient clinics, and we also don't want to call them and unnecessarily expose them to a risk of infection. So we need to redesign our study, but this is very unprecedented. This will not happen maybe for the next century, we hope so. So for your batch and the batch which is been there especially for the 2019 batch, it's been a problem. But I think you can do studies where you can look at psychological impact, you can look at economic impact, or those kind of things. Or you can do a retrospective analysis.
Thank you.
Who's the next one?
Okay, any questions you can ask, or you can send me on this email and I can reply to you, because I think 3:30 is Dr. Prabha's time.
Yeah.
So Prabha is there or not?
Yeah, she's here.
Acha.
She's here. She's sitting in the room.
Okay.
But she's logged in.
Okay. So if you have any questions, please send it on this email and I will reply to all your questions, and you can walk off to my office. If you have any other queries regarding your research projects, we can discuss with you.
Please switch on the video cameras so that we can take a snapshot. प्रभा मैडम कहाँ से करेंगे?
स्क्रीन शेयर करना बोलना शुरू कर। स्क्रीन शेयर हो गया ना? Hello everyone. I welcome all the participants for the course. Myself, I am Prabha, librarian. I'll be presenting about the library, brief description about the library, about the web map, how many journals which are accessible via our institutional network, our institutional repository, and a brief description about the PubMed. Now, just a small glimpse of the strength of our collection in the library. We have books which are 26,000 plus, loose journals which are available in this current year. There are 214 titles coming right now. Bound journals which are 36,000. E-journals which are via clinical key, they are 1,000. E-books, sorry, which are via clinical key, there are 1,000 plus textbooks. E-journals again via Clinical Key as well as Submit Consortia. There are 800 plus titles and newspapers which have 4 English and 4 Hindi. The library timing is round the clock, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. You can issue and return between 8 p.m. to 8 p.m., 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. The library remains closed on all gazetted holidays. Now, how to access the library is that first a register is there in the counter in the entrance of the library. You need to make your entry before entering the library and after departing from the library. The borrowing rights are that you will be you will be issued 3 cards uh, as per your category. If you are a resident, you'll have 3 cards. You can issue either book or a journal. If you're a PhD student or a research scholar, you'll again be issued 3 cards. For faculty also, it's 3 cards. For non-teaching staff and for nursing students as well as students from the College of Technology, they'll be given 1 card. You can issue any book or journal as per your requirement, and the issued material will be valid for 7 days. If you don't return the book as per the due date, you will be charged a fine of rupees 10 per day. Now, how to get the books and journals? In the library, the bookshelves are arranged subject-wise, and the journals and that is the bound journals and the loose journals, they are arranged alphabetically in the respective stack area. You go to the stack area, select your required book or a journal. After selecting the book or a journal, you may issue it from the circulation counter. Reference books, thesis, etc. are only for reference and are not for issue. Now, how do you go for the library portal? You need to type the institute's URL, that is sgpgi.ac.in, and you can find on the central library here. You can click on this button and you come to this page. Now, before I start with this, I would like to give a brief description about the library online catalog. Library online catalog. What is online catalog? What is OPEC? It is an online public access catalog. That is, it is a key to find books or other material which is present in the library. And the beauty of this software or this catalog, online catalog, is that it is available 24/7 within the institute network area, and one can search and browse books and journals, theses, CDs, whatever is available in the library. One can see the status of the document, whether it has been issued or it is in the bindery, or it is on the shelf. You can even find the location of the document within the shelf also. Now the page looks like this. You have 3 types of searches: simple search, advanced search, and additional search. As per your requirement, you can search the database as per the indexes like author-wise search or title or subject-wise or keyword-wise. Now, before I start with this, I think I would like to show you the online presentation of this. So just keep a hold on it. I will show you it online. This is the link to the library, Central Library. This is the page of the Central Library. This is the page of this is the website of our institute. And on the left hand side, you can see the Central Library link. Just click on the link. You'll come to this library portal. Here you can find on the right hand side, library online catalog. Just click on this library and online catalog. You'll come to this page. Here on the left hand side, you have search, books, CDs, thesis, full catalog, new editions, journals, and my account, checkouts, and reservations and history. Now I'll tell each and every tab. First, a simple search. Now, if you just click here if you have like if you just search genetics, so then you will get, you can search genetics like this. It's quite slow, but then please bear with me. I think again I come to the page once again. Now you can see that there are so many books which are related to the subject called genetics. Now again, if I go back and I put thyroid, and if I say I need all the books related to thyroid after 2010, you get a list of many journals. Like you can here, you can see there are 10 records. You can click any one. With the one which is highlighted on the right hand side, you get the details of all the details of this particular title, the author, the editor, the publisher, the date of publication, and like you can see, even the number of copies, like it is on the shelf, it's having only one copy. In the same way, you can go to the browse tab. Browse tab shows the list alphabetically, like if you the authors here are arranged alphabetically. Again, if you go for title, you get the title, you get the catalog indexes title wise. Again, you go for like subject wise, you get all subject wise titles. Now here you can see like anesthesia. If I click on anesthesia, anesthesiology, you get titles which are under this subject. There are 321. You can go next by clicking next, you can go to the next page and you can see the title of your own interest. Another search is accession wise, but generally this is not used by the users, but still I'll show you some. Anything, you just write accession number this, and you'll get that this accession number bears this title, and these are the details of the title. Now I go to the module journal. These are the journals coming in the library, and this is the frequency. This is the publisher, which is. Now you can click on any, or like if I click on L, you get titles which are, now if I click Lancet, see this is the journal. These are the loose journals. And here when you see that there is a book type of icon in against this, that means it has been bound and it is available in the library in a bound form. In the same way, thesis also you can search. If you want to know how many theses have been awarded from the Department of Genetics, you can just click and you can find this. You can get a list of it. This catalog actually is a time-saving one. Before reaching the library, you can search on this whether you have a book of your interest. If it is available, is it issued or it is on the shelf? You can get the complete scenario of that particular book. Now, my account, here checkouts. Now, whatever membership ID you have got, say for you have got like F16, I just put a random ones. You get details of your particular article ID, whether you have any book issued or not. You get it get displayed here. and you can even see whether your book is overdue or not. So it is a very helpful catalog. You can see this on your in your department and in such area where the institutional network is available. If you have any queries regarding this, accessing this online catalog, please do let me know. Next I'll be dealing with the online journals which are accessible to our institute. So our institute has a subscription to Clinical Key, and it's a member of ARMET Consortia. ARMET Consortia is a consortia which is developed by the National Medical Library, New Delhi, and it has more than 250 journals from various publishers like BMJ, Wiley. Here the list is there. Before I start with Clinical Key, I'd just like to show you what is the content of ARMET Consortia. This is the page for National ARMET Consortia. You can download subject-wise. You can download subject-wise list, and this list you can see the journal of your own interest, or you can keep a printout of this. And when you do a search on the PubMed, you can see that whether your institute has a subscription to it or not. Because in PubMed you have links to the various publishers' sites, but this will be a very helpful sheet by which you can come to know that the journal which you need is available to the institute's website network area or not. Now I go back again. So you can take a printout of this page and you can keep it for your ready reference. Otherwise, you can even click this. This is alphabetical list of all the journals coming via ARMED. These are available since 1997 till present date. It's very easy to access these journals. You may have a problem with the journals which are available. On Ovid platform. So like this. For this, you need to click on this Ovid platform. When you come to this page, because only 110 journals are available on this to our institute, so just click on your journals at the rate Ovid, click OK, and whatever search you make in this, you will be able to get a full text of that. Or you can take a printout of all the journals. Here you can click the journals list. The same way, now I'll tell you about Clinical Key. Clinical Key is a very smart search engine which is owned by Elsevier, and the coverage of this is that it has more than 500 plus journals and more than 1,000 books and 4,000 best guidelines. It's a very smart search engine. If you just start typing anything, it gives auto-suggested terms. Just I write.
Not visible.
Just I write ovarian. It gives so many terms. It suggests you so many terms. If you click on one,
Prabhaji, we are not able to
it will
see.
give you the type of source, whether you want journal articles, or you even within the journal articles also you need meta-analysis or systematic reviews. You need images, or you need some articles which are within the books, guidelines, regarding ovarian cancer, patient handouts,
Able to see the screen.
patient education.
We cannot see the screen.
Now, what is the content of this clinical key? If you want to know, you can just go to the browse. If you go to the books, on the right hand side, you'll have
Excuse me,
lists
madam.
alphabetically
Hello.
arranged, and on the left hand side, you can filter your by specialty wise.
Excuse
If
me,
you
madam.
want to
Your
see
slides are not visible,
anesthesia,
ma'am.
just click on it. If you want to see books on anatomy, you can just click on this. But before you start clinical key, I'm sorry I couldn't explain this before. You need to log in. You need to create your own login. Create your own login is very important because books, you cannot download the PDFs of the chapters in the books. शुरू से बोलो यहीं से. So, once again, let me start with clinical key. Clinical key is again a smart, very smart engine, search engine. It is a full text database which is owned by Elsevier, and the content is very rich. It has more than 500 journals, more than 1,000 books, and 4,000 guidelines. And before we start with this, we need to create our own login. This is the help. It is very helpful because you cannot download the book chapters without you being a member. You log in into it and you become a member of it. You can save your search histories in this for a later, which will be used, which you can use even in the next day or in the future also. And now if it has the search of this is a very auto suggested search. It is a smart search. If I write anything, like if I write hepatitis also, it starts suggesting that you need hepatic. So it suggests whether you need hepatitis B or you need hepatitis C or treatment of hepatitis B. Now you can see on the left hand side, if you want only guidelines, you can click on guidelines and you can find the latest guidelines on hepatitis B. Similarly, if you go for the book chapters, books are not downloaded as a whole. You can only download the chapters, and serial downloading is not allowed. So these are the chapters. You can save, you can email, or you can take a printout of it. Now, next I'll be telling you about Next, I'll be telling you about the digital repository. This is a digital repository, and the content of the digital repository is as displayed. We have uploaded 50 doctoral theses. These are available. The summary of this is the abstract of the thesis are available. Full text you need to request for. Now, indexed publications, these are available department wise. Now, depending upon the department you are registered in, you can click on a particular department and see the publications of your department. This is wholly a repository of our institute, all the publications which are of our institute. So if you click on any of the article, you can get a full text, you can view the full text. All articles are uploaded full text in this, and you can save. And you can see for simultaneously, you can see the, here also you can make a search also. You can search in the repository, and this also contains newsletters and annual reports, photo galleries also. Still it is underway, and it is we keep it uploading, we keep uploading many other articles also. Now I'll just give a brief description about the PubMed. Before I start with PubMed, I'll just give a brief introduction about it. Just a brief introduction. PubMed is a free search engine. It is a bibliographic database primarily by the Medline database, and it is developed by National Biotechnology Information Center (NCBI) at a National Library of Medicine at NIH, and it comprises of more than 30 million citations. And as of 1997 June, it is available free through internet to all the users. This is the URL of the PubMed, and this is the homepage of PubMed. Now I start with the online version of it. Before you start with PubMed, try to please create your own login. It will be very helpful and time saving so that you can save your search histories and you can work on it in future. This is the page of PubMed. Here you have an advanced search. This is the basic search. And here you have certain tools like single citation matcher, journals. If you click on the journal, you can get a list of all the journals which are available on Medline and indexed in the Medline. Before I start with single citation matcher and the journal, I'll let you know that this is the homepage of PubMed. It's a new homepage, and again, it is also a very smart search engine. It gives you auto-suggested terms. Now again, if I write for ovarian cancer, it gives so many suggested terms. You can click on any one and go to the search. Both clinical key and PubMed requires login so that you can save your search for the future also. Now, this is the term. In case you want to use two or more keywords, you can add the Boolean operators like and, or, and not. And I think this will be described to you in detail in the next tutorial. But I'll just give you a small brief introduction to it. By using Boolean operators like and, you can narrow your search by, or you get wider ones, and by not, you can exclude your other topics. Now you, when you get this page, you can now again change your display option. If you want the format to be in abstract, you can again click this button. If you want it like publication date wise or first author wise or journal wise, generally people use the best most recent ones. You can increase the number of hits on the page, like per page we have only 10. Now you can increase it to 50 till 200. On the left hand side, again you have here abstract, free, full text, full text. Now if you want only articles which are full text, then you can click this button. So you will get all the articles which are full text. You can limit your searches by even reducing the time period. If you want, you can even filter your searches by the type of article, like you want only review articles, or you want articles which are meta-analysis or randomized trial. You can customize your search even by publication date, like for the last 1 year or 5 years or 10 years. You can add your own as per your need. You can add your filters. Now, whatever you have saved, you can send it to your clipboard or collection, and you can email or print or cite and share it. Now, like if you want these three articles, you can send it to your clipboard, or you can send it to your own collection. In your collection, you can add or delete your article, your searches. Uh, this is the abstract. This is the link for the full text. Once you come to this page, there's no need to open it. Just do a right click and save link as, and you can save your search articles. I hope everyone has understood. If you have any problem, you can very well contact me. Now, there is one more search tool, that is single citation matcher, which is generally used when you want to find a specific article, and for which you know the name of the journal, or you know the author, or you know the title words. There is no need to know all the fields, but even if you know few of them, you can find the article for which you are searching for. So this is a very helpful tool, and can be used many a times. I think I've completed with my presentation. If you have any suggestions, any questions, any queries, please do let me know.
Remember whether PubMed and PubMed Central is same or different? Hello. Hello, ma'am. Am I audible to you?
If you have any queries, please do let me know. I hope by now you must have got an idea of all the databases available in our institute, and the databases, the software of the library, how to access the library catalog from your desktop, from your department. If you have any queries, please do let me know. Anybody else? Okay, thank you.
क्या Yeah.